All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to a different view of the Crypto Maniacs podcast. We're trying a brand new service here, and of course, Django tried to be prepared, but apparently, you can't really be prepared on these live streams until you press go live. Nothing is working properly as I press go live, but I will adjust things as we go through this. So we'll put the link out to Leo, and we'll get it out there so more people can come. If you're watching this replay, just give us a couple seconds as we get things fired up. Brand new service. We're testing it out this episode because we want to go away from Restream, which we were using. For whatever reason, they just didn't let us download the recordings anymore. So everyone seems to say StreamYard is the best, the top of the food chain when it comes to streaming on your browser live streaming platform. And there's really cool things we can do. Task, we can play music. Do you want to hear some music?
I just hear voices.
How's that? You hear that? Yeah? No?
Yeah,
we can do dance pop. How about this? There's dance
pop. You know what that is from? What was that game show where you had to guess the name of a song? They gave you like 2 chords. Do you remember that? There was some type of game show, and they would give you like 2 chords, and you gotta say, "Oh, that's We Are the Champions" by Queen. It's like
yes. Yeah.
What was the name of that show?
Yeah. I remember it, but I couldn't tell you if you paid me right now. So
I can't remember either.
There's actually quite a lot of cool features we can do. We could play night driving. This one's nice. Very, very subtle, right? Very nice. You like that? Make you feel like you're driving at night? No?
This guy shows up once in the last 3 weeks, and he wants to play with the damn.
I know, I suck.
Video.
I know. Dude, how you doing, man? It was great because today I didn't have to work today, so I got to hang out for the AMA. Maybe let's talk about it. What the big takeaways? Obviously, Leo Premium came out today. So as you kind of go over a little bit, I'm gonna go get this link out to people so they actually watch us instead of just you and I speaking. How about that?
That would be great. We like an audience. So yeah, I sent out the YouTube video link on Threads. So hopefully some people caught that and are going over. I also sent out the Threadcast, so I don't have it up. Django has it up. So if you can hear us, if you see us, if you are live, please let us know in the Threadcast so we can determine if we're just talking to ourselves or not, which is fine. I mean, well,
yeah, it's fine.
It's totally it won't stop us, but we just have to know how much we need to censor ourselves. What was the question? Oh, the AMA.
AMA, yeah.
Like anything else, it's just a piece of the puzzle. Now I'm literally talking to myself since Django left. For those of you who are listening on the replay, he just left, and the only thing I see, he's back. He was a disappearing.
Sorry, there was something making noise. I had to mute it, so I didn't want to.
Django was there 1 minute.
I'm here, man.
You'd be surprised how ninja-like Django can be when he wants to. Anyway, get back to the AMA and Leo Premium. It's a piece of the process, and this is what people need to realize. First off, and Cal did mention this. I think he used the term payment rails. Whatever. The payment rails that they built that we use for premium are the same things that they are going to use for whatever they're calling it, only Leo, or the subscriber or subscription service that is going to be like Substack or what's the other one? Patreon. I think it's Patreon. It's going to be similar to that, where people can put together premium articles and for a fee, You can subscribe to Django's premium subscription if you want for 5 or 10 HBD or whatever he charges a month, and you get his premium articles, which are different than his regular articles. So that's something, and that's why I think Cal said the intention is to try to get that up next week. And people were amazed that was so quick, but it's actually the same back end infrastructure that they built for premium. Now the premium is, again, it's a work in progress. So it actually isn't, as of when we kicked off the show, it isn't fully live. It's on labs, but it's not on the production UI. Throughout the day, they did that intentionally. They held back some uh, features as they worked through bugs. They were updating them. So it's a value add. Nobody's required to pay for it. It's 10 HBD a month. You get extra services, extra capabilities. Some of the ones that have been mentioned is you get the ability to create lists. You get a couple, I think it's 3 additional themes right now, and there's going to be a bunch more rolling out in November. You get the ability, again, this may not be very particular to most people, but there may be some people who are. You can put an NFT in your profile pic. You can exceed the 240 character limit. You can do edit, which on threads isn't really that big a deal, because if you make a mistake, just either delete the thread or just repost it. Who cares? But you're not losing edit on your long form. That's still there. So, and I don't know what other plans they have, but the Leo Premium, and hopefully there will be an article in the next day or two by the Leo Finance account that explains this. But Leo Premium, A gives you added features. B gives you um, the ability to uh, start generating revenue, which goes into a smart contract, which then will feed into uh, buying Hive and buying Leo, taking the HBD, buying Leo, buying Hive at a 50-50 split, putting that into a liquidity pool on, I think it's Binance, BSC, and then burning the LP tokens. So it's permanent liquidity. And that, of course, helps to remove the tokens effectively from, or at least the value of the tokens from circulation, locks them away, and over time can be used to increase liquidity so people can go back and forth and get into and purchase Leo or Hive, or sell it and go outside and get USDC or whatever to get to exchanges, because we have that problem. Um, the one thing they talk about is the votes and trying to substantiate it monetarily. I disagree with that. I mean, it'll probably happen, but I quite frankly am not going to change how I vote. So I don't really care if somebody has a check mark or not. If I see them on the latest feed, if I see them on my feed, if I see them on my list, I'm going to vote them. I mean, if it's worthy of a vote, it's worthy of a vote. I don't give a shit if they, pay the 10 HBD or not, because quite frankly, there's a lot of people who can't. And so I'm not going to penalize them. So I disagree with that, framing it that way. I mean, I would frame it simply: paying HBD, 10 HBD is going to get you more services, and we're just going to keep adding to the services over the next year and keep building services for your premium. But I think it was made clear that you're not losing anything from what you had yesterday or what's on the production UI right now, other than the editing, which on threads, I mean, that's who really gives a crap anyway. But you still got your 240 character level. You can still engage for free. It's still, you don't have to pay anything to reply, to get monetized, to get upvoted, to get your payouts. You don't need any of that. It's a freemium model.
Yeah, it's no one's putting a gun to your head saying you got to do this, and I think it was Cal might have said it earlier today. It's he's talking about like 95% of the people do they won't go premium. 5% will because they absolutely love the platform. And if you look at the people that are already premium on Leo, it's the people that love the platform. It's not necessarily the people with the most stake. Sure, some of the people with the most stake have they've went premium, but it's people that genuinely love Leo. So you're not going to please everyone, but that's the freemium model. That's just the way it's been. Like you can still use Leo. It's not like you can't use Leo if you're not upgraded. Like it's a really weird way of doing things.
Yeah, and it's to the point that Cal was making about X, and he used me as an example on the call because I asked him questions, and he's like, "Oh, it's just like on X," and I'm like, "Well, that doesn't help me. I don't know anything about that." Um, so I don't know, but from what he was saying and what listening to, oh shit, who's the race car guy on I? He was just on the call yesterday. He was on CTT.
Butterfly?
Butterfly, Lord Butterfly.
Yeah.
He's finding out on X he's shadow banned and all this other stuff. And I don't know if he was a premium subscriber or not, but you know, X is penalizing you. X is pushing everybody to pay. X is pushing everybody to be a subscriber. X is pushing, uh, for that monthly revenue, and you're going to be very limited in what you can utilize on X. That's not the case on Threads. I mean, first off, there's a lot of things that Threads incorporates that they can't block anyway because it's base level stuff. So if you're using the Hive account management system, you can't block wallets. You can't do any of that. I mean, you can opt not to show them in your UI, but somebody can take the Leo and run right over to Tribal Dex or Hive Engine and swap it out. So it's not like you can do anything like that. It's not like they can alter who gets paid and who doesn't based upon the you know upvotes and the proof of brain. That's already set. So I think it in the long run. I mean, people are fussing, pissing, and moaning as they always do, even before they know how things work out. And I think in a few weeks it's going to be a non-issue. Those who are paying premium will be happy. Those who aren't paying premium will be fine. And maybe in 4, 5, 6 months, the idea of premium will be that much more appealing because maybe there will be some super duper features that they provide. Uh, but I mean, the ability to rethread is still there. The ability to post as many threads as your resource credits will allow is still there. The ability to engage with anybody is still there and have your followers. And you're going to show up on the for you feeds, and you'll have your for you feeds, and the algorithm is running site wide. It's not just running for premium. So I mean, it's I don't know. I don't really know what people have to bitch about because there's just a whole bunch of stuff that got added or is being added that wasn't there yesterday.
Well, it's the development is yeah, it's fixing stuff, but it's also like doing things, right? I mean, it's I have this poster on top of my head all the time. It's the strategic plan. It's called doing things. I mean, action attracts action. So the more people seeing things that are being done and constantly being worked on, you're going to attract more users, which is the ultimate goal of Leo, right? We want to see more people not only on Leo but on the blockchain as a whole. So the more things that are happening, the better. It might not be for everyone, but there is a market, or else they wouldn't have got 30 plus people already paying for premium.
Is that
So
what they got?
yeah, well, this is kind of leads me into what I wanted to discuss with the list because I the list feature is really interesting. I never even used it before. It's on Twitter or X or whatever. It's been there forever, but I kind of had this aha moment on starting a list of all the premium users. And One Alpha did this really cool post where he did a kind of a thread. He was doing multiple threads, just saying, okay, here's the first 10, here's the next 10. And he got to about 28 or something of the users. And I said, well, why don't I put all these users in a list? So I put all the users in the list. So I'm sitting here monitoring who's paying. And I've created a list basically of all the premium users, and that's my feed now. My feed on Leo is this list. So I'm not trying to ignore other people, but this is a really cool way to see who is premium and to really focus on their content, which I want to do.
See, I don't care about focusing on premium subscribers' content. I don't give a fuck. I mean, honestly, I don't care. If you paid or you didn't pay, Django, I wouldn't care. I mean, it's I can see. I think this is a cancerous mindset, and I think Cal made a tremendous strategic error by trying to sell the idea of paying for votes and trying to say that premium members are more important than non-premium members. I think that's total and complete bullshit. I think that elevating premium members over non-premium members is garbage, especially since you have a lot of non-premium members. It's not because they don't want to, it's because they can't afford it. You look at the Cubans, you look at the Nigerians, you look at some of the Venezuelans. These people have the choice of using 10 HBD to buy food or to get a premium subscription. And, I think it was just a major strategic error and, really pretty asshole-ish by people who are sitting there saying, well, I want to know who the premium members are so I can support them. Well, why is the premium membership the most important barometer? Because I can tell you honestly, I see a lot of those premium members, their posts are shit. They are shit posters. They're garbage. They're worthless. They're not worthy of an upvote. They're long form content because it's not even long form. Scaredy Cat. He keeps saying, why he talks about me not upvoting him. The fucking guy's been threatened for 4 years. He hasn't done a long form post yet. I don't think he's gotten over 250 words in a post. It's like if you're going to be a long form content creator, be a long form content creator. And I'm not bitching at you, Django, because you write good stuff. Wealth West writes good stuff. There's a lot of people who I go through the new feed for long form content who I come across. Sapphire Crypto writes good stuff. I mean, a lot of people, of course. Then you have Addicted, who always puts good stuff, and Bad Bitch, and the people who write quality stuff and long stuff and put effort into their stuff are known. But
yeah,
then,
but this is what I'm saying though, is that this is the problem with micro content. You can't expect War and Peace and like beautiful top quality content when I'm putting pictures of my chicken's eggs up today.
No, I don't. But then why do I give a fuck if they got a check or not? If it's a picture,
oh no, I hear that.
Eggs, I could give a shit if your content has a check or not. And if you show up on the either the latest feed, if I'm on there, or if you show up in my For You feed, and you put a picture of the eggs of your chicken, and I think it's a good picture and it's a nice picture, and you captured the sunlight beautifully. Hey, wonderful! I'll give you a nice picture. I'll give you an upvote for your nice egg picture. It's like these people start showing pictures of their breakfast. Okay, I mean it's something. So again, I think when you're trying to foster the idea of inclusion, this should have been promoted and framed as it's something extra, and it's something you pay for, and it doesn't entitle you to any more of the ad revenue. It doesn't entitle you to any more of the revenue stream. Doesn't entitle you to any more of the upvotes. Doesn't entitle you any more curation. It doesn't entitle you to any of that. What it simply entitles you to is these extra features that we're building on the blockchain, like lists, like these other things. And you can create your content based around particular users you like. You can do it based around particular topics. So if you want the Bills or the NFL or sports in general, you can do that, or you can do, whatever else floats your boat. Although I don't know if that the topics is the tags have been added to the premium membership yet. That was one of the features they put on hold. But I just think it was a wrong strategy to try to say, oh well, people are going to get more than upvotes and the ROI. Now you're back to vote sell. We got past that, and again, trying to focus everything around votes. I would have simply said this is a value add feature. If you want to pay for it, great. If you don't want to pay for it, then don't. Just use the platform the way it is and stop your bitching. Um, and then I would just keep building out, putting more in the premium side of things to increase the value to the users, so that other people might be incentivized to use it. Um, that's just my opinion, and I think it was a major strategic error. And I think what it does is it just caused some pushback.
I think this is I agree and I disagree, because I do think you're right that the idea of the vote selling stuff could get you into a whole bunch of drama. But this is like a few things. One, the $10, I totally agree. Like $10 for people in Venezuela, people in Nigeria, and stuff like that. Like, what do you decide? Do you want food or do you want the premium features? So $10, it might seem like nothing to you and I, but this is where it gets into, okay, well, you could take the Leo you're earning, flip it for HBD and purchase it, but $10 is that takes, especially if you're doing micro content earning, that's gonna take a bit. Like you're not gonna get that in a day or two. So you're kind of in this catch 22 where it's like, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to keep putting effort here? Am I going to get enough to get my premium? Is it worth it? Do I even want to spend that? So $5 would have been great, I think, especially for what they're given now. $10 is, and that might, again, it seems like peanuts to you or I or someone in the West, but it's a big difference. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
$5, I have a feeling, depending on where you are, is it's still a huge hurdle. I mean, when you look and we hear about what the weekly pay is in some of these countries like Cuba, where it's like what, $40 a week. I mean, $5 is still a lot. So, I don't know if the amount. Obviously, if you have too small an amount, it becomes problematic because you are trying to fill a liquidity pool. I think it's just one of those things where it's like people don't want to look at it being a work in progress. And I don't know what the roadmap is with premium services. If what other features will be added in the next 2, 3, 4 months. It may be in 4 months where the premium service, if you can afford it, is a no brainer. I don't know, but I think it's when you start to sit there and say, well, I'm not going to support the smallest of the ones on here. It's you're
Well,
not supporting the ones who least can afford it.
but dude, see, this is the problem with and I just got into it in the CTP Discord about this. All problems can be solved with more users. All problems. Every problem in the world when it comes to this can be solved with more users. You have more users here, the good content will the cream will rise to the top, premium or not. You'll get great content. Some people aren't going to pay. Like for me, I will not pay Twitter. I will not pay Elon. I don't care about the I won't do it. Am I a poop poster? I don't know. Maybe I am. But I think the more users you get, you're going to see the cream rise to the top. So that's why I think it's so important to get more users actually engaging
Well,
and
yeah,
talking.
but to do that, you have to retain your users, and if you
True.
start
Yeah.
alienate
Yeah.
your base here now, you got problems. And again, I think it was just a shitty way to frame it, and I think it was a major miscalculation. I have no problem with the premium service. I have no problem with the pricing. It's optional. It you did not lose, other than the edit feature, which I've been talking about for 2 weeks, because that's the only thing that goes away, is the edit feature. Which, by the way, this is how fucking people are. How many rethreads do you see a day on your feed?
I rethreaded yours, and I think you rethreaded Cal's, so I've seen 2 today.
How long did everybody say, oh, we need rethread, we need rethread, we
Yeah.
need rethread? They spent a long time building it. How many people use rethread?
Yeah, it's not a
So
lot. Yeah.
it always comes back to, you know, Cal is in a tough position. You understand this because you've been in the same position. You really have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is you tell people what's going on, you give them a roadmap, you tell what's going on, and you listen to their bitching because they're not going to like it. Or you don't say anything and you listen to them bitch about you not saying anything and keeping them in the dark. Because either way, they're going to bitch. And you have a bunch of people bitching about, I mean, there were people bitching 4 or 5 days ago about shit. They didn't even know what the fuck this was about, but they're bitching about it. It's like, you know, and that's the way people are. And so all they want to do is bitch. So, you know, to be honest with you, on one hand, I don't fault Cal for not saying a lot about what they're working on, because it's like, fuck it. Why do it? All the community does is complain. And I know I'm preaching to the choir on that because you've been in that position for many, many years and much longer than you prefer. But that's just the way it is. So, you know, basically, and, you know, that's why I'm not really suited to be in a position like that, like Cal or Eric, because I would just tell people to shut the fuck up. Then don't do it. Just shut up. Don't do it. Don't use it. Fuck off. Go thread and be quiet. I mean, it's just, I have very little tolerance for ignorance. And it's like, if you don't like something, so what? The world doesn't revolve around you. But I'm a user. Who gives a fuck? And, you know, that's just the way it is. But, you know, there are certainly ways you can frame things. There are certain ways you can explain things. And if what you're building for the premium service is valuable, those who can afford it will pay the 10 HBD. It
Absolutely.
all comes back to what you're getting. It's like, you know, if you're getting fair value, you know, people, what did I see? Netflix is like $15 a month now without the ads. If you feel that's a good value for you and worth 15 bills a month, you're gonna pay Netflix $15 a month. If not, you're not gonna pay it. And it's the same thing with this. If you think there's value there, pay it. But you know, the only other thing, if I was Cal, I'd say right now is there are more premium features coming. We already have them on tap. You know, the subscription service is going to be a nice addition. That's not related to premium. Anybody can open up a subscription service and get subscribers. But then, you know, people bitch and moan because Django wants $10 a month and I can't afford that. So why didn't he give it to me for free? Well, Django gives you, you know,
Dude,
7 posts a week or 6 posts a week for free. He has 3 a week he wants you charged for. So what?
You have no idea the battles over the years I've had with that. And it's like majority of the stuff I've always charged, and Rich Taylor is in chat on YouTube too, so he'll attest to this. Like most of the freemium models we've been using for 20 years. Most I've ever, like the majority of it is a $5 a month subscription. And people lost their minds when we first implemented that. You expect me to pay $4 or $5 a month? Are you insane? Like, hey, if you see value, you're going to pay it. If you don't, you don't. And I think you're right. I mean, that's an angle to me that makes sense just because I come from that way of thinking. Yeah. Like, I'll provide something. If you find it valuable, I hope, because I got to pay the servers, that you'll pay it. If you don't, it's okay. The server's still going to work for you. It's just you get a little bit extra if you pay. So, anyways.
Yeah, it's I had no problem ponying over the 10 HBD. I didn't honestly know what I was getting, but uh, I'm going to end up once I log on with my other account, I'm going to end up paying 20 HBD to get two accounts going. But so be it. I mean, it's up to each individual. And as I said, I'm not changing how I vote. I'm not changing how I approach Leo. I tend to, when I'm on threads, I spend most of my time in the latest, and that's where I'll probably still reside. Um, and that's what I'll do. And I don't see this as changing anything. I don't look at the $10 or the 10 HBD payment as somebody's more dedicated than somebody who's not,
Right.
especially if somebody who's not, you know, can't afford it. I mean, if you didn't do it, or a Nomad Soul didn't do it, or Nifty didn't do it, okay, what's your guys' deal? But if somebody in Nigeria doesn't do it, I understand, and I'm not going to penalize them, and I'm not going to hold back with them, and I'm not going to change my voting to try to figure out who has the check mark and who doesn't, and I don't care. It's like on X, the few little that I'm on there. I don't look at check marks. I don't know who has the check mark. I don't really care. The
Yeah.
list, I knew nothing about the list because that shows you. I mean, hell, Jungo, the only reason I'm on dead Twitter anyway is because you guys kept harassing me to help promote Hive and shit.
Dude, that was
And
all Nathan Mars's fault.
yeah, it was all
Don't
Nathan
put that
Mars.
on me, man.
You didn't exactly like soften the blows. I think you held me while he was hitting me. But either way,
Mm.
I got on there and okay, fine, well, whatever. But I'm with you. I'm not, and I'm a big Elon fan. I own Tesla stock, but I'm not giving them $8 a month. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
uh, because I don't see the value in the service. I don't use Twitter enough to care. And
Yeah.
if he takes all my features away, other than just sending out a few tweets here and there, I only need 2 or 3 tweets a day because that's all I make. And maybe I'll retweet something if I see it on my feed as I'm on there. But um,
Yeah.
this is where I choose to spend my time, and that's I think that's the case with all of this. You've sat in that chair. You got to have thick skin, and you quite frankly have to not care. You
Yeah.
have to say this is what we're bringing out, and this is where it's going, and that's the way it is. And it's for how long have I been saying to people, build, start your own business, build, and people don't. They just sit there and say, "Oh, that's great. This is wonderful. This is great. This sucks. This whatever." But what are you doing? Well, I'm a user. Big fucking deal. Well, I have Leo. Big deal. I don't give a shit. So do I. I'm a user and I got
Mm.
Leo. So does John Go. What the hell you built it? Go. You could go to X and become a user too. And well, you can't buy any X stock anymore, but you can. I guess you get monetized there if you have enough of a following. Here still on threads, you put up a thread on and show up on the latest. I go by, John Go goes by, Cal goes by, you get an upvote. Doesn't matter how much LP you have, doesn't matter how many clicks you have on your threads, it doesn't matter how many posts you've done, you get paid
Yeah.
in 7 days. Whatever that payout is, you get that. And I
Well,
see people on Twitter, oh, I got to get to my 10 million clicks. Why? Oh, because then I get part of the payout. What do you get? 3 cents? It's like you and I talked about the YouTube shit. And, you got to go through all these headaches. And then you can, once you reach the levels, then you can apply to get involved and be monetized. And then if approved, what do you get? A few dollars?
yeah.
You got to be doing.
It's like 100,000 like subscribers or something to get like $3,000 a month or something. Like it's I get why people want to be influencers and all, but I just the investment in time and energy into a place that you got to stick out like a sore thumb. Like, are you? I don't know.
Here's my question, and I'm going to follow this question up with: how did the universe begin? What is God, and how do we achieve world peace? On questions that are impossible to answer. But you're right. You have people who are trying to become influencers on, let's say, YouTube or Twitter, and they're putting all that time in, and they just grind and grind and grind to get to do it on there. Yet they complain after 2 posts. How come they're not making $1,000 on a post on Hive? I mean, what the hell goes through people's head? It's like, you'll sit there and spend months, if not years, trying to get monetized on a Twitter or on a YouTube, and you come to Hive and you complain that you're not making $10 or $20 on your first 2 posts.
Yeah,
it's like, put in some effort.
Speaking of being recognized and all this stuff, you ready to dive into it? We got the Threadcast going, but it's a lot of stuff we've already talked about. But I'll pick through some stuff if you're ready to go.
Oh, sure.
We're gonna try this. This is a brand new service, so please hold as we're attempting to go through this, and we saw it properly there. It's good. We're there. And I got the latest. So Neo said, I agree. More users is definitely beneficial for Hive, but sign-up process still a pain in the butt. My girlfriend tried to sign up with Leo like 5 times with her Guatemalan number, and it never works. In the end, I figured it out with Hive. Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's as easy as you and I might think it is to ask, because we're here for the everyday person. It's literally like pulling teeth. It's not user friendly at all, and it's a lot more user. This is what kills me, though. And it's funny because me and One Alpha were going back and forth about MetaMask today, and it's like people in crypto, all these jackhole NFT guys that are on Twitter are like, oh, here's my picture of a Bored Ape. They figured out MetaMask, but a lot of people still can't figure out Hive. It's very strange. I get it. When there's a lot of attention on Hive, people will figure it out. They'll figure it out. But there's no real big demand to jump into Hive yet. So right now, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
No, it's not, and Neo's correct. It's a pain in the ass, and I haven't tried Leo. I don't know why they're asking for a phone number, to link to the account. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what Leo sign up is. I know they have the quote light accounts, but do they have where you can go and get just a full blown account and send me my keys or download my keys? I don't even know. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. A lot of shit about Hive is a pain in the ass, but you hit the nail on the head. The masses, when they realize it's worth it, they will. They'll if it's worth it, they'll sit on a thumbtack. But they have to see the value. So in the meantime, to everybody who's here with their account, especially you, Neo, keep stacking, because guess what? When the masses get here, things will get real interested then, and we know the rewards will get diluted when they're spread over more people, but that means they'll have a greater monetary value in, price go up, which everybody seems to like.
Yeah, I know that's something they got to fix with the UI. That's extremely frustrating that it opens a new window like that. There's still quite a few bugs in Leo, and I was having a hell of a time today. One of my biggest beefs, Tass, and I don't know if you have this beef too, but it is extremely confusing when things get launched on labs and they're not pushed to the new UI, and you had people going back and forth going, where can you get premium? Where can you get premium? I literally spent 20 minutes trying to find it on InLeo. It wasn't on InLeo. It was on labs. So I get they have the little sandbox to play, but I think right now the bugs need to be fixed. Like, that's pretty important, because there's more and more people coming here. I'm seeing a lot of people in InLeo going, I'm brand new here. Well, guess what happens?
Well, brand new people don't belong on InLeo. InLeo is a beta site. It's a test site. it's yes, you can go there, but guess what? You're going to have bugs. In Leo's
Well, yeah,
designed to
but you
have
can't.
bugs.
But
I
dude,
mean,
how can you
the
do that when
labs.
we have a Zeely campaign marketing people to come and engage and be a part of it? Like,
In labs.
not in just Leo in general.
But you said the the premium was pushed to labs, but not production, and you were saying where you were getting confused as to where it is.
Right, but there's all these new features that are coming out on labs, and a lot of people are going, well, where is it on in Leo? And then this thing's not working on in Leo.
Well,
Not just
because
the premium thing, but just
it's not in production. It's on the test site. So if you want to be part of it and use it, go to the test site. And if you want to go to the test site, guess what? There's going to be bugs. That's why it's on the test site and not on production, because it's full of bugs. I mean,
yeah.
it's just that's why you have a test site. That's why you have a beta site. It's called labs. And stuff that's put on there, if you are going to use labs, there's going to be bugs. That's what
Right,
it's
but
designed.
but for the new person that comes in and they're seeing all of this talked about, where is it? Oh, you're not supposed to be on labs yet. Well, everyone's talking about it, so I want to go. There's got to be, you got to remember that majority of the people that are coming into this press a button on their phone and they want things to work.
I understand,
That's
and
that's the problem.
And that may be part of the lesson Cal has to learn. Don't say shit until it's on production.
Right.
It's people want stuff and they say when. And then if you bring it out to appease the whens, it's like, oh, this sucks. It's broken. Now you're complaining that it was brought out on the test site. People are talking about it and it's broken. Well, that's why it's on the test site. So what's the solution? Just say nothing until you put it on production? But of course, you can't do that because you need people actually testing it to make sure it works and to find the bugs. This is development 101. And this is where, I mean, it's just, I've told people leave. Go, you just get the fuck out of here. You're not cut out to be a trailblazer because trailblazers deal with the terrain before the roads are built. Yes, it's a lot easier to go across the country when there's a super highway and an interstate highway system. It's a lot harder when you're taking your horse-drawn
when
carriage.
You're playing Oregon Trail. You're gonna die.
And you're creating the Oregon Trail. You're not even on it. You're creating it.
You're gonna die
from the damn trees.
You stubbed your toe. You're gonna die.
Yeah. So that's the way it is being an early adopter. Well, we don't have these problems on Facebook. Well, Facebook's been around for 17 years. In the early days, Facebook was fucking buggy too. And I always go to Microsoft. I mean, look at every time Microsoft brings out a new operating system. It's like 3 years of bugs. And then they don't fix the bugs. They just bring out a new buggy operating system. I mean, Microsoft's been doing that for 30 years. So, I mean, it's just, you get, like you said, like we were saying, John, you in the chair. It's a no-win situation. People are going to bitch. It's like,
I think Nifty brings up a really great idea too, is that it, some way to opt in to, like, when we used to do when we beta test stuff for people, we made them join a specific list and we said, look, this is you guys just poking around. It's probably not going to work, but we need your feedback. So some way, maybe, so it's not just open,
Yeah.
That something like that, where it's, just so we know,
Yeah.
like it's not you and me. You and me get it, but I'm thinking of the new person that's just like,
that's a great idea. You set up labs for beta testers, and anybody who's been around can opt in or submit, or however the process is. I think that's a great idea. Is get yourself 20 trusted beta testers, but again, then that puts out other issues. Is if we tend to all go and gravitate towards the same features, you're not getting necessarily the people testing out the long form content if everybody's drawn to right. Short form and threads. So, it's a very difficult situation. And, again, if you don't like it, just shut the hell up for 10 days. It'll be different. It may not be better 10 days from now, but the way the production team works, it'll be different. They'll have different updates. They'll have different things. And you know what? The community will be complaining and bitching about something else.
Dude,
That's
it's
what
just the
they'll be
human
doing.
it's the human experience, man. Like,
Well, it's also why John Go and you've read the same stuff I've read. You want to sabotage success. Be a victim. Be a complainer. Be a whiner. Be a bitcher. Just complain. They rarely get ahead because you know what? Successful people just say, "Fuck it, I'm going to get done what I need to get done in spite of it,"
yeah.
and provide the feedback, move on. And I mean, the thing that pisses me off is in the long form content. You spend 10 hours a day trying to move those vertical sliders on the long form writer. You see how fucking skinny they are, and try doing that on a
On a
laptop.
phone. On a
No,
phone.
not even on a phone. On a laptop mouse pad, not even with an external mouse.
Mm.
And it's a fucking pain in the ass. But guess what? I've worked around it. I figured
Yeah.
out a workaround. I mean, I notified Cal about it. I put in the feedback. He said it's not a high priority right now. Okay, well, what am I going to do? Keep complaining to Cal every fucking day? He said it's not a high priority. Maybe someday they'll attend to it. Well, fuck it. I did what I could do on that end. Now I figure out a way around it. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah. This is a really cool point and question that Forex brought up, and this is something too. When Cal was talking about it, I was kind of scratching my head, and maybe you have some insight on this. He said he wants to know why HBD is being collected from the premium and being used to buy Hive. Shouldn't it go 100% to Leo? Hive is just a decentralized blockchain at the bottom of it. Is there a reason? Do we know why it's going half and half, or why it's not going all to Leo?
Yeah, it's going half and half to fill the liquidity pool. That's the other half of the trading pair, so people can swap, I believe, from Leo to
Gotcha.
Hive and Hive to Leo, and so you have the liquidity pool to either enter or exit through either of those tokens, and being able to get either of those tokens. So, the problem is if you go to Hive Engine for Leo, you got liquidity issues, you got then issues on and off, and it's a pain in the neck, and liquidity certain times getting on and off. Not with Tribal Decks, with Leo and some of these others. So, and even on Hive Engine, you're still kind of locked as to how you can go from there outward. I know you can do some little things with some other tokens, but again, there's not a great deal of liquidity, and you're sitting in a honeypot, and it's one account handling it all. Where this is on BSC, and you got a Leo Hive, I would presume. I think it's BSC. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure they're going BSC. So you got Beehive and B Leo, and you can then use that to get into USDC if you want, or anything you want that's tied to BSC. So that's why you're grabbing that liquidity pool and or filling that liquidity pool, and it's permanent. So you know the LP tokens that are there. So
That yeah, that's
and
what
now
Forex
people can
followed up with.
switch back and forth between Hive and HBD.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what Forex followed up with. He just wanted to know, is it being deposited into the liquidity pool that never is withdrawn?
Yes. It's going to be fed through the smart contract, and they buy the effectively buy the liquidity pool tokens, and then you just torch them. You send them to null, and now it's permanent liquidity, or the value is permanent. So this is something that when I heard that idea, I'm like, that's a good idea, because we need to start building some liquidity pools where people I mean, if you want to buy $50,000 worth of Leo, good luck. I mean, you got a better time. Hell, if you're in the United States, if you want to buy $50,000 worth of Hive, good luck. I mean, it's a bitch. It's not easy.
I took some Bitcoin and I bought Leo with it today. It felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it, but it's just not easy.
Oh, dude, it was it was $10 worth. Like, let's be
Well, it's
lowered expectations.
if we get a liquidity pool that can get permanent liquidity, hundreds of thousands of dollars in value, and just total, it doesn't matter whether it's Hive or Leo, just a few $100,000, that'll help. I mean, that, it's still not the end all and be all, but at least somebody then can move $5,000 in or out in a rather feasible way. I mean, right now you want to try to move $5,000. It's very tough. So
Wealth West he said, does it mean that Thread topics should only be about finance, crypto, money? Well, I hope not, because I don't talk about crypto at all. So as far as I know, Threads is open season. You can talk about
where did that come? Wealth West, where the hell you been? I mean, what do you think we've been talking about for 6 months or 3 months, 5 months on Threads?
Well, the first question said, why is it that some users get bored at contents that aren't money related?
Well, that's difference in interest. Some people are turned off by money related topics. That's just personal preference. And I'll be honest with you there. You look at a lot of the engagement, and this is just typical social media. So you don't expect people to be intelligent with what they post, but there's not a lot of interest in stuff that you see because that's what most of social media is. It's like, look at people on Facebook. It's like, what do they post? And at least the people posting pictures of their dogs or pictures of a sunset or sunrise, that's at least somewhat interesting. Sitting there posting that it's raining today, and that's what you post every day. Well, that's about as inspiring as the weather. I mean, post about the Bills. It's like, that's what he's passionate about. I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable topic.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about the Bills, especially.
No, I would agree with you, but it's what you're interested in. So
it's true,
and we can make fun of you. I mean, I can't because in spite of your inept offense, you still outscored us.
Yeah. Andersino wants to know what color on the theme are you premium lions using? Not sure if it's because I had it for so long, but I really like the black and orange. Well, everyone was on the purple gang today, so I tried the purple on the.
I'm blue.
You're blue. I'm trying the purple right now. It's all right. But I don't like I know people hate me for saying this, and Task is a convert recently. He does the dark themes. I still hate dark. I can't stand this. I like the light background. To me, there's nothing cleaner in the world than a white background, black text. That's just me.
That is clean. That's why, and that's the most professional. That's why websites are white. That's why news sites especially are white background. But yeah, I like the black and orange looks good. I think the blue and dark is good. What I do is I have my labs on the white, on the light. That's how I keep it separate, which I'm on, is because I have my regular production site is the dark mode, and then the labs I have in the light mode.
Yuabong says, why not HBD Leo instead of Hive Leo for a pairing?
Well, because I think first off, there's a liquidity issue with the HBD overall.
Right.
And second off, again, the problem, one of the main focuses, I mean, let's make no mistake, Leo is dedicated to Hive. Leo is building on Hive. And one of the major weak points is buying Hive and selling Hive in large amounts, especially if you're in some countries of the world, like the United States and I believe Canada is in the same, where we don't have Binance. So
Right.
there's Coinbase doesn't carry Hive. So to be beholden to, really the Koreans, they have the most with the Hive on the market. Uh, we need to start to set up liquidity pools where people can come in and buy the governance token and utilize it, not utilize it, buy the governance token and be able to acquire it in sufficient quantities. The medium of exchange token HBD, that can be acquired in different ways, and as we're starting to see, the idea of payments, the idea of subscriptions, the idea of maybe what Grandpa talks about is with stores and Wavio accepting payments there. There's a lot of different things you can do for the HBD, um, and the post I'm going to write after this show is also going to explain why payment in HBD and not in Leo, which Django knows where that one goes because I've had that fight with him. And by the way, Django, I had the same fight with Cal. So
That's okay. Well,
he
I'm
was
in good company as long as you're. Well, he shouted you out in today's AMA, saying he had a sit down with you and you explained to him, the
well, it
why.
was a DM, and it was one of those explanation where the DM was a full post before I
Mhm.
was done with. I actually kept it pretty civil. I didn't call many names.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah, so again, it's the big idea of the liquidity pools is over the course of time with the subscriptions that are paid by those who opt to pay for the subscriptions, is that money goes into a permanent liquidity pool. And if you have enough of that growing over time, and you have enough of that going in each and every month, then again, the greater success that Threads has, and the more people who are on the premium subscription, the more money that's going into the liquidity pool, the more that helps everybody. Because if you have, okay, you can sit here and say, okay, 20,000 Leo at 6 cents is what, 1,200 bucks? Is that right? No, 120. No, 1,200 bucks.
You start talking math to me, man. It's like,
Yeah.
good luck.
So you have
Yeah.
1,200 bucks. Good luck selling $1,200 worth of Leo. It's going to take you all on Hive Engine. And if you want to buy 1,200 bucks worth of Leo, it's going to take you a while on Hive Engine. So the idea is, if you need 1,200 bucks, and more importantly, what if your 20,000 doesn't go, isn't 1,200 bucks, but what if your 20,000 is worth $25,000 because Hive's worth or Leo's worth $1, whatever that works out to, 20 or whatever. Now you want to liquidate out. How are you going to do that? That's why these liquidity pools are so important. That's why liquidity is so important. It's great to it's great to sit here and say, look at how much money I have in this token. Yeah, if you can't sell it, you got zip, you got shit. Because if you try to sell it, the price will crash. If one alpha tried to cash out of his Leo right now, the price would be under a penny if he was dumping 1 million tokens. So that's where you really, the reason for the liquidity pools, and Hive and Leo are two things that capture the attention of people, because they are the value capture token. They are okay. There's governance with Hive. There will be, we presume, governance with Leo at some point. So these things have value, and as having stake in the platforms, they're what's desired. And,
Mm.
people need to be able to get in and out of them if you want to have I mean, that's the problem with penny stocks. You could have $1 million in penny stocks, but if it trades 5,000 shares a day, it'll take you forever to get out of it. These are things that we have to look at, and we have to build.
Speaking of building, before we get out of here, just want to give everyone a little update. In case you've missed it, Task and I are part of this little team of Hivians that have created a witness called Town Hall, and it's with Nifty and a Nomad Soul as well. And Task just did a post, a video today about the pillars of why we're doing this and what the vision of Town Hall is. Here's the huge news, Task, and this is just mind blowing to me. And this is all on Eric, man. What an absolute beast he's been. We're 39th now in the witness list. So the next town hall that we're having will be November 1st.
What time is that? Is the time set?
I think it's 11 Eastern, I think he said.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'll tell you
heard
right
November
now.
1st, but I didn't hear the time.
I'll tell you right now. Please hold. 11 a.m. Eastern. Yes, sir. November 1st. So,
okay. Yeah, evidently, from what Eric was saying, that most of the app team leaders are going to be on that Spaces. So it could be very interesting. I don't know if there's going to be a set topic other than applications or what the center of attention will be in terms of the topic, but there
it's
evidently
pretty much every app, right? Every app will be there.
So that's a good thing. Just to let you know, if you didn't see the video, what the three pillars are that we're working on and we're looking at advancing is infrastructure, education, and communication. And the infrastructure is the witness note is the first one. And notice I said first one because we are planning, and I put out a feeler today on getting involved in another form of infrastructure tied to Hive.
Right.
I haven't heard anything back, so we'll see what comes with that. But part of what we're looking at doing is we're looking the town hall team at providing some infrastructure where we can and what we can do to help facilitate the node systems that are being constructed, whether it's Honeycomb, whether it's VSC. We already have the witness server. Maybe at some point we'll talk about a full node. We're obviously a long way from that with the resources, but we have no problem if we have the resources generated from these other nodes going in and getting a full API node. So that's the first thing. Education, and credit to a Nomad Soul and Django Nifty. I don't know if you're involved in this or not. I told Django I've been paying attention with about 5% to what those guys are talking about. But they're setting up something that is really going to help with the education and getting information out there about different topics. And again, we have the town hall, which are to be educational. I do the weekly This Week in Hive. One of the things there is supposed to be education and keep passing around information and what's going on and things of that nature. And it's on Spaces, so anybody can come on and say, hey, this is what I'm working on, or this is what, the CyberX team is working on. I read a post that they mentioned this. That's a perfect forum for it. And the third thing is communication, and that's kind of tied to information, but it's also, as we've discussed in the past, you usually don't have to go too far on the blockchain to find one of the four of us. And that way, if people do have issues, Spaces is very nice because you can bring in the two-way communications. People can go on air and voice their opinion about they like something, they dislike something. Threadcasts are very good for providing feedback during these broadcasts. So, we're starting to get the tools. And what this is this is trying to fill in the cracks that take place inevitably because you have project teams. And Django and I are very adamant about we don't need to be out. Nobody needs to be out there promoting Hive. People need to be out there promoting Free Speak, promoting Leo, promoting Peak D, promoting Splinterland, CyberX, whatever it is. The project teams have to do a lot of the promotion themselves. And I have no problem with Starkers and They Call Me Dan focusing on talking about Speak and Free Speak and what they're doing. That's what they should be. And if they talk about governance, it usually is related to what they're setting up, which it should be. But who's handling the rest of this stuff? And that's where there was a real gap. And hopefully we can fill that by, like the last spaces was on the town hall. We talked about governance, talk about proposals, talk about witnesses, the importance of witnesses, talk about the importance of staking Hive. Why, yes, layer 2 tokens can be a tremendous opportunity, but don't overlook your high power. Django and I talked about that for years. Don't overlook the high power. That's where it all starts. And yes, you are a small account, but your vote still is important. Place your votes, get in the habit. Look at growing your account. You can grow your influence quicker than Django and I. Django and I aren't going to double the size of our account anytime soon. You got 50 high power, you can double the size of your account in a short period of time. So, these are things. And I'm going to be, part of what I'm going to be doing for the initiative is I'm going to be going through the Hive glossary, and I'm going to be extending and expanding a lot of that stuff. So there's a lot of the questions that people have are answered in there with things such as resource credits, with things such as governance, with things such as proposals, with all of that stuff. So, if somebody is asking, you can drop them a very quick link that says, here it is. And it gives them a nice in-depth written explanation about what it is. What's a threat storm? What's a threat cast? What's the difference between a threat storm and a threat cast? Just little stuff, things like this that'll help people. I may let John go write, what each of the keys are, especially the memo key. He's going to write
memo key, my favorite key of them all.
6 years on the blockchain, I can honestly say I've never used the memo key once.
One key to rule them all. It is the memo key. Like what a great idea for me.
Do anything. Yeah, I mean, it'll unencrypt the memo.
The only person I've ever known to use a memo key is Roland P. Like when we were doing the Hive Fest stuff. Like that's it.
Yeah. And I watched on YouTube because I couldn't find my memo key, so I couldn't activate to get into the VR room. So I just watched the YouTube stream. So that's again, we went a little off topic here, but we want to keep this discussion going because when we got together, we felt this was a definite hole in Hive's framework. And understandably so. I mean, Block Trades is not going to sit there and talk about governance. Block Trades is going to sit there and talk about what his team's doing on development. And that's it. He's going to write his article about that and leave it at that. And then he's going to get back to running his team. Ho's going to talk about what Ho's developing. He's not going to talk about any of this other stuff. And, Cal's doing what Cal's doing. And the Peak D people are doing what the Peak D people are doing. And so somebody's got to step forward. And since I was writing it, we're around. Nomad Soul talks to a lot of different people. Nifty's there because he brings the feed into the equation. And no team is successful without strong feed. And that's what Nifty brings.
Very much.
It's and we're he's another one that Nifty's around. I kid Nifty. Nifty's around. He understands this blockchain. We have like 30 years, almost 28 years or something, 26 years between all four of us. So we have a pretty good understanding of the totality of things. And there's things that Django knows that I don't, and Nifty knows that I don't, and vice versa. And that's where we can get most of the questions answered. And Nifty, as I said in one episode, that server got up and running. I had zero to do with it. And that's why it's up and running, because I had zero to do with it.
And
I
if
mean,
yeah,
I teach John about this. I had zero to do with these streams. I have zero to do with the technical stuff.
oh well,
So,
dude, we'll get these streams out. I actually really like StreamYard. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was really easy to engage with people, not only here like in the stream with on YouTube, but once we get all the different platforms, I'll pay for this, and we'll you know, crossing fingers, we'll jump back on it on Thursday with a full featured StreamYard, and we can play
well,
with all the features.
the point is, we all bring different talents to the table. And that's what, Django and I, from the time we started this show, we each realized that the other has talents that the other one doesn't, and we look to complement ourselves. And what we do behind the scenes, which granted for the show isn't a ton of things. There's a lot of stuff that I handle that John just simply can't, either now, especially due to time, or because he doesn't have the knowledge in that area. Then there's a lot of stuff he handles that it's like, I mean, he'll run something by me. It's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Just, yeah, whatever you think is best. And it works good like that. And that's what you need. And that's what we're looking at building now with the Cryptoholic guys. And now we're all under the Town Hall umbrella. So maybe once in a while we'll have, maybe once a month we should have a Town Hall show instead of a Crypto Maniac Cryptoholic. We'll just have a Town Hall show, and it's
Right.
four of us buffoons on camera.
Well, this eventually, when I get everything sorted out, these live streams will be streamed from the Town Hall account. Yes, thank you. Yes, we do look best on a beach in Mexico. The cutouts, we were there in spirit. That was the highlight of my year so far. Seeing that.
What made that priceless is on the CTT after that. The Starkers and Dan just started taking the piss out of me because they got on the topic of the heads, and somehow they said something. Dan said, "Oh yeah, I was talking to Task at the pool. I had a long conversation with him, and he didn't say much." And Stark goes, "Yeah, he's kind of quiet in person, isn't he? He doesn't say much. He's kind of shy."
Like, kind of shy.
You guys
shy in person, are you, Task?
I still have not found out whose idea that was. Who put that together? I don't know. I saw that Cal sent me the picture of my head, and I just had to send that to you, and then you and I showed up on that Cryptoholic show. It's like, oh, good God,
it's the best. That's a good show, guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Hopefully the StreamYard worked out good. We'll get this uploaded, crossing fingers, and appreciate you all for coming by. We will see you again on the next episode. Get out there, be active, spread the word that we got the best blockchain and the best apps out there. Toodles.
Job.